All right, welcome back to the Science of Peace. And today, I want to start exploring, and I'm not sure if any of you have read. I started reading this book by Billy Carson, right? It is the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, a beginner's guide. And I have to say, if you are one that is interested in ancient history, like ancient history, going back into the times of the Anunnaki, aliens, before Egypt was called Egypt, when it was Kim. Right, and the history that was hidden and buried there. This is a great book for you to pick up. And if you're a fan of Billy Carson, definitely check out this book, man, because I'm just like completely floored. And so I wanted to go over some of the findings in this particular chapter. This is in the beginning of the book. Like, really, I just want to talk about some of these things that I had no idea even existed, that are that NASA and other space agencies have discovered. And I have never even heard that this was discovered. And so I wanted to go over some of these things and then see how you all, for one, do you all know about these things? Because I think that if more people knew, it would increase curiosity. It would allow more awareness and knowledge for what is really happening, and just a greater awareness and appreciation for where we are as a human civilization, what has happened in the past as far as like his history, and even with the church. And a lot of this information was suppressed through the Catholic religion, and I'm just completely blown away. So without further ado, I do have, I'm an educator by heart, and I'm also an educator in real life. I work with juveniles that are temporarily detained. And so I like to develop lesson plans. So I have developed something for you all so you can follow along, because that's the way that I like to teach. So hopefully you will enjoy. So let me share my screen. All right. Okay, so here we go. Let me be out the way. So we are looking at, and I'm going to read a little bit of it and then discuss a little bit more, because I just, like I said, I found this to be phenomenal. But on page 4, when we get into the vastness of our universe and beyond, okay? And just so you know, this is the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson. So in this particular chapter, they talk about, besides the hundreds of planets discovered outside our solar system by scientists, the European Space Agency recently announced the finding of 32 new planets.
What?
Okay, for one, what?
What?
The finding of 32 new planets. And I thought that was something, and then I kept reading, and no, that ain't even the part that made me go,
What the fuck?
What the, you know what I'm saying? So, according to Professor Impey, we may discover alien life immeasurable in years, not centuries. Planets that might sustain extraterrestrial life potentially number in the billions. Okay? In November of 2013, y'all, astronomers interpreted data from the Kepler space mission, suggesting that just within the Milky Way Galaxy alone, Milky Way Galaxy, now this is our galaxy, supposedly, right? For planet Earth. This is the part right here. Suggesting that just within the Milky Way Galaxy alone, our home galaxy, as many as 40 billion Earth-sized planets may be orbiting around the sun like dwarf stars.
Oh my God!
Now, the book here, he talks about 40 billion. But of course, I went to go do some research because I'm like, yo, is this for real? So I did some research and I put some of the articles that I did find. So I do encourage you to go do your own research. And I think, Billy has said many times before, he doesn't want to just tell us this information and then we just take it and keep it. But all he wants to spark our minds and make us curious, as so we can go out and go do our own research. So that's what I have been doing, and that is what I plan to present for you for the Science of Peace. We're going to have a continued ongoing series of the reading of the Emerald Tablets and some of the research that I have found. So, come on, y'all. In 2013, they found 40 billion Earth-sized planets that are orbiting. I never heard of this. If you've heard of this before, and
I don't know.
drop some dang on stars or planets in the comments, you know what I'm saying, and tell me what your thoughts are. And then, so I'm gonna show you one of the articles that I pulled up. This article actually talked about 50 billion as opposed to the 40 billion that's mentioned in the book. So this is an article from space.com, right? And there was tons of articles to look up, guys. So if you want to check the sources and just look into this a little bit more, but this was the article that listed as 50 billion on space.com, and they're referring to NASA's Kepler Planet Hunting Telescope. Whopping 50 billion planets, scientists say. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Now, moving along. Against that incredible number, astronomers have discovered approximately 3,700 planets that exist in the habitable zone called the Goldilocks zone. Now, for one, I never even heard of the Goldilocks zone, so this is news to me. Only Goldilocks I know is the childhood story. So apparently, in the Goldilocks zone, let me put that here. All right, so this is the Goldilocks zone. For those who don't know, let me move myself out the way. Okay, so like I was asking, I'm like, what is the Goldilocks zone? Because I never heard of it before. But for those who don't know, the Goldilocks zone refers to planets like Earth positioned just right from their suns for life to exist. Okay, astronomers hunting for alien life outside our solar system search for planets within the Goldilocks zone. These planets are in orbits that are not too far out or too close to their stars. Instead, the orbits are just right for liquid water to exist on the surface, a key building block of life as we know it. So that is what they're referring to in the Goldilocks zone. Okay, and in that Goldilocks zone, they have discovered 3,700 planets that exist.
What the fuck?
That's crazy, man. So over 40 billion galaxies, and within our own Goldilocks zone, over 3,700 planets. This is phenomenal. Like, I don't know. Am I the only geek here? I don't think so. But this is like, I never heard this. I never even knew. I never knew.
I don't know.
Right? Now, so let's go further. This one I was like, what the fuck, for real? Okay. So, moving along, this is on page 5 of the Emerald Tablets. Astrophysical Journal reports that there are approximately 2 to 10 trillion galaxies in the universe. And within each galaxy, there are 200 billion stars that are like our sun.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Now, come on, them numbers is crazy. 2 to 10 trillion galaxies in the universe, right? That's in the whole universe. Then they talked about 40 billion to 50 billion galaxies within our Milky Way galaxy. This is phenomenal. As a human, I can't even really like wrap my mind around these numbers. It's just like it's astronomical. Then it says within each galaxy there are 200 billion stars like our sun. The obvious question left is just how many planets are there in the entire universe? Current speculation estimates 480,000 million.
Really, nigga?
Is there really such a thing? 480,000 million? What do all these numbers mean? I bring all this up to say that you have got to be out of your mind or crazy if you really think that of all of these galaxies and all of this potential for life, that there is no other life except for here on planet Earth. That don't even make sense.
Stop it. Get some help.
Just look at the science. It never made sense to me anyway. I've always believed that there were aliens, but doing the research, right, and actually like reading this book, this has opened me up to just so many more possibilities and really just to confirm, some of the things that I had already thought, but backed up with real science. I'm talking about real peer-reviewed science. You know what I'm saying? Not just theory, not just conspiracy, but real peer-reviewed science. Man, it don't make no sense for us to think that the only life that's here is on planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? And then when you zoom out and you look at planet Earth looks like one of these stars, right? It looks like a little speck of salt. Why would life only exist on that one speck of salt dust? Really not salt dust, but I'm just saying. On that one speck of stardust. That don't even make sense. And to further prove the point of how sometimes religion has suppressed, and more specifically, when you really get into ancient history, the Catholic religion had suppressed so much of this information, right? And just the tactics that they did to keep this from the public. Did y'all know? I'll show you here. Did y'all know that Galileo, Galileo was found vehemently suspect of heresy. This was by the Catholic Church for his heliocentric views and was required to abjure, curse, and detest his opinions. He was sentenced to house arrest, where he remained for the rest of his life.
What the fuck?
And his offending texts were banned, or like his books, his theories, all because Galileo believed that basically that Earth was not the center of the universe, right? He had a heliocentric view. And at that time, the church was very adamant about believing that Earth was the center of the universe and that the sun revolved around the Earth. And Galileo said, no, the Earth revolves around the sun and the Earth is not the center of the universe. And they threw this man in jail for the rest of his life and banned his books. And then they also, when I read further into some of the article, and I'll pull it up here just so you can see. Now this was on history.com. But he was accused of heresy, right? He was ordered to turn himself in to the Holy Office to begin trial for holding the belief that the earth revolves around the sun, which was deemed heretical by the Catholic Church. Standard practice demanded that the accused be imprisoned and secluded during the trial. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but you can pull this up yourself because I do want to make this point here. On June 22nd, 1633, the church handed down the following order. We pronounce, judge, and declare that you, the said Galileo, have rendered yourself vehemently suspected by this holy office of heresy, that is, of having believed and held the doctrine, which is false and contrary to the holy and divine scriptures, that the sun is the center of the world, and that it does not move from east to west, and that the earth does move and is not the center of the world. Along with the order came the following penalty. We order that by a public edict, the book of dialogues of Galileo be prohibited, and we condemn thee to the prison of this holy office during our will and pleasure. Like, come on. And then it says, and as a salutary penance, we enjoin on thee that for the space of 3 years thou shalt recite once a week the 7 penitential psalms. So then they sentenced him to having to read scripture. Come on, y'all. Galileo agreed. He actually had to agree to this, because if he didn't, they probably would have killed him, I'm sure. Galileo agreed not to teach the heresy anymore and spent the rest of his life under house arrest.
What the fuck?
Galileo.
It took more than 300 years for the church to admit that Galileo was right and to clear his name of heresy. God, dang, that's crazy. 300 years?
Stop it. Get some help.
300 years later, the church finally admits that they were wrong after they done sent that man to house arrest for the rest of his life, banned his books, right? Basically ridiculed him, made him out to be a fool, and then made him apologize and retract his statement, and then made him pray on a weekly basis, reciting scripture. This is some of the shit that was going on. This is some of the shit that is still going on to this day. So this makes me think, like, if they were doing this back then, we gotta think about some of the things that we just deny right away, even though there's lots of evidence to say different, right? And we can hold on to our beliefs so strongly that we can condemn people, right? Because our minds are closed, or it's done on purpose because they know that there's a certain story that needs to be put out. And if you put out this story, it's not going to align with what we agreed upon. You know what I'm saying? And by that, I mean like what the church has agreed, like the Catholic Church has agreed upon, right? What the religious books have agreed upon. Like, this would change that. This would open up too many minds. And so I just wanted to bring that part up. This is a very good book. That was only like the first couple pages. That was page 4, page 5. And there's some other information about religion and science on page 6. But that's going to conclude our lesson for today for the science of peace. And we are right now in study of the Emerald Tablets, right, by Billy Carson. the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, a beginner's guide. So if you are interested and you want to read along with me and go into some research as I read and do my own research, please get the book. And yeah, the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson. My name is Shantae, aka Ms. And make sure you click that button, subscribe, leave some comments, and let's have some dialogue. All right, peace. And I'm out.